Hello everyone, and welcome to another 365 Days of Weather collaboration that I am doing with Julie Carriere. We are now working on our pages for August. You can see I've got the Cricut Design Space file in front of me here, and I'm going to do a quick talk about that. Julie's video is also going to post today, so I will put a link to that at the end of the video and also in the description below, as well as all the details on this project. You'll find links for that as well. But what I want to walk you through today before I start assembling my project is a quick overview of the Design Space file. If you're not familiar with what we are doing with this, each month we take turnabout. Julie and I are creating sketches for each month. August was my turn. So you can see this is the sketch here that I have done, and there is a color chart across the top. Each of those colors represents a bandwidth of temperatures. So this one here has some icons and a little word art element that will suit where Julie is from. She's actually in Canada, and because I'm in Australia, I'm in winter, so I designed a little embellishment here that says winter days, and I'm doing some treatment to that and also to the title, which is a little bit special, so I'm going to bring that in later on in the video and show you what I've done with that. And what I'm doing for this layout, I've designed one with all strips that go behind the photo panels here. And because the color chart is already on the Design Space file, I can just easily select Avocado and New England Ivy. And then I got one Toffee day. So pretty much my whole layout is in the same temperature range, but we do use the light side and the dark side of our cardstock so that you get differentiations throughout. I've designed this one with some floral elements on it. You can see from some photos here, and I thought with these flowers here I'd like to bring those into my layouts. But of course, if you are using the Design Space file, you can substitute those for whatever you like, or if you're using this as a sketch, then you can put whatever you like there. So what I need to do is go through and just order all my avocado strips and my New England Ivy strips and my one little piece of toffee in this order. These are all varying heights. I don't necessarily need to follow this exact thing here, but I'm going to stick as close with that as possible. And you can see that I have my mat here. What I generally do when I'm cutting intricate things is leave the things on the mat so I don't lose the pieces. So I can peel these off and assemble them all in one go. And I will be doing some treatments to these as well with some inking. And I've got my title ready to go. It's a bit hard to pick up on camera here, but one is linen and one is white, and as I said before, I've got a treatment to do with that. And I just want to show you, this is how I record my weather. I don't have a fancy spreadsheet like Julie does. I just go the old-fashioned writing everything out, and I've used two different fonts this time with my August title. So I've used KG Strawberry Limeade and KG 716 so that I could change up the A and the G with this, because with the Strawberry Limeade, which I've been using throughout, they didn't quite match. And if you want to check out how to create a title like this, I'll have a link to the video. It's April's weather video where I show a tutorial on how to get this style of title onto your Design Space file. So I'm going to move everything aside, and then I'm going to bring in my backgrounds, which are linen, and I'm going to be using the dark side of linen. I'm not sure if you can pick this up on camera. Linen is a very subtle color, and I quite like using it for backgrounds, but for this one I'm going to use the dark side. And then I'm going to refer to my Design Space file and also my list here so that I know that I'm starting off with an avocado dark piece. So then it's just a case of me looking at this and knowing which side is going to be the light side and which side is going to be the dark side, and varying the lengths. Now this has all been cut on the Cricut, and then I will adhere them all to my page. One thing I will mention with this sketch, you can see that I've got two strips going across the bottom. They're actually reflecting the 31st of August, and they're cut manually. I haven't used the Cricut to do this. They're 12 inches lengths, and they're the size of a zip strip, so ½ an inch in height. So that will represent day 31 going right across the two pages. So you can see I've got everything just laid out here. I'm ready to adhere everything down. I've got all the color shades going exactly how I want them. So I've got this lined up on my Versamat, and I'm just going to come in about 3/8 of an inch and stick my first piece down. And using a T-ruler really helps get everything all nice and lined up, and then I can just keep going because I know that my first one is going to be in the right place. And as long as I just keep staggering all of these heights along so it's not all nice and even, I want to have an uneven look going across here. Everything is going to be nice and straight going across the layout. So I'm going to put all that together and then I'll be back with the other techniques. So I've put all my strips down and I've put my photos on top. I haven't pressed too heavily with my photos because I've got some tucking to do with those, with some embellishments. So day 1 is here, so 1st, 2nd, 3rd, right through the 15th, the 16th to the 30th, and this, as I said before, is day 31 for August. So now that this is all in place, the bare bones is all in place, I'm just going to move this aside because I want to show you a couple of treatments that I'm going to do to the elements. I want to bring in some sparkle with the winter days, so this is going to go here, and I want to show you how I did that on my August title. The base layer has been cut out of linen, and this layer here has been cut out of white daisy. So I'm just going to peel this off my mat, and I'm not going to take these pieces away just yet because I need the inside pieces of the A and the G and that little bit from the S there that I need to place inside here. I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending to this, and so I don't transfer any of the ink from my fingers onto the top sections of this piece in particular. I'm just going to protect it with a post-it note. So I'm just coming in for this. I don't have to worry about blending too much, and what I'm doing with this base layer is just dragging it away. This one I've got a little bit more purchase. I can hold on to it a little bit easier, but I'm just deepening up this linen cardstock with the pumice stone. So the first layer here is just a general coverage. And then I'm going to come in with black soot, and I'm only going to go along the bottom section. So I'm just coming in off my mat and just deepening up these bottom sections of this layer. I'm going for a bit of an ombre look with this, and then I'm coming in with my pumice stone and I'm just blending that back down to the black soot, and I think I want to deepen this up just a little bit more because remember we've got an overlay to go over this, so part of this section on the bottom is going to be covered, so I want this to be fairly deep. And I love how this is working on the linen cardstock. It's really blending really beautifully, and because it's a linen base already, I've already got a little bit of a grey tone. So that's that part of that done, and you can see when I lay that over, you've got that ombre sort of look happening. But I'm also going to do the same sort of treatment to this overlay. Now you do need to take a little bit of care because obviously this is a more delicate cut. So I'm doing exactly the same thing with a very light hand, especially in this middle section here because I want it to blend out to the white cardstock. So I'm adding just a touch of the pumice stone, and then I'm going to come in with the black soot just on the edges, and I'm starting on the all-purpose mat and coming into the letter. And you can see that's giving a really lovely look, but I want to blend this out just a little bit more just by going over with the pumice stone back into the black. So that's that section done. I'm going to be doing some shimmery splatters to this, but I want to treat these tabs as well while I've got the inks all out. So I'm just going around with my black soot, and this will make it match in with these titles that I've got here, and also will define it really nicely against the white edges of the photo mats that I've used. And you can see I'm using pumice stone again. I'm not trying to get a totally perfect blend with this. These tabs, I'm going to have words on them, but I'm actually going to use the clear shipping labels, which I've been using throughout this project, and I'll be able to type it up and put it through my printer and then put that over top of this. So now I'm going to bring in my clear shimmer brush, and you can see that I've got a shimmer on all of this. And you see here, I haven't cleaned off my mat yet, so I'm actually going to squeeze a little bit of this into the black soot and the pumice stone so that I get a little bit of a colour to the sprinkles. So this is a really cool thing to do with the ink that you've got from all your blending with your shimmer brush. It's actually giving it a more silvery shiny look, and it's picking up some darker colours as well, so there's a bit more texture going on to this August. So So you can see where I've put the inside pieces for the G and the A and the S, and these G's right down the bottom are looking a bit too white. So I'm just, before I pack everything up, I'm going to go over those with a little bit of the pumice stone. The top ones are fine, it's just these sections here that don't quite match in with the blending that I've got happening, and then I'm going to give those pieces another little bit of splatter. I've got two inks out here, raspberry and sage, so you've probably got an idea that I'm going to do a little bit of treatment to these flowers. Don't know if you can pick it up, but there are little white tick marks where the blade will go around these delicate items when it's cutting. So by mirroring your cardstock, you put it face down. The side that you want to use is the side that will be face down, and then when you peel it off the mat, you turn it over. And what I'm going to do with this is go in with raspberry ink and just deepen up the central areas of these flowers. It just gives it a more organic feel rather than just a flat look of the cardstock. And then I'm also going to go around the edges. Using one of these sponge daubers is really handy for something like this because it allows you to get into the creases a little bit more, but it does give a really lovely look to the floral elements and brings them to life a little bit more, I think. So I'll bring in one that I haven't done, and you can see the difference a little bit of sponging makes to them. Rather than a flat piece of cardstock, it gives it a little bit of light to it. And then I can blend this out just a little bit more just to soften up the edges, but I still want some of the light sections showing. And then I'm going to come in and do a similar treatment with the sage ink. I don't need to worry about this section up here because that's going to be covered by the floral element. And these little buds here are in the lemonade. So all I really need to do is just do a little bit of sponging just randomly over the stem areas just to make them look a little bit more realistic. And it does make a bit of a difference if you take just a little bit of time to add a little bit of colour to a Cricut cut. So all I need to do now is to match all my layers up and put my pieces together. So here are my assembled flowers. You can see that with the shading of the ink on the sage and the raspberry, that really brings it to life. But it was a little bit hard to actually shade these tiny little pieces of lemonade. This is the image in Cricut. It's actually from the Australia-New Zealand collection. And you can see that when you put this together, it's not meant to line up perfectly. So you see little bits of the underlying flower underneath, which gives a really cool effect. But to try and ink and give these little pieces shading, it was a little bit tricky because they are quite small. So trying to do that with a sponge dauber was a little bit too much of a challenge for me. So I decided to bring in tri-blend marker. I'm going to use the gold yellow blend. I'm using the light side and I'm just going in on the very edges of this, just a few little flicks to give a little bit more depth to these buds. And I'm also going to go around this base part of the floral element and a couple of other little areas just to give a little bit more texture and life to these images. I do like bringing in a little bit of extra colour to Cricut cuts sometimes, especially when they're florals or anything to do with nature, because when you look at the Cricut cut, it does look quite flat with just some cardstock. So going to the time of adding these little touches, and you can see this is not taking me very long to do at all. It just brings in a gorgeous depth to the floral elements. I don't have to do any blending or anything like that. I'm just letting the cardstock do the rest of the work. And you might be thinking why I'm bringing such a bright floral into this layout. I'm just finding with all the greens, it does need a little bit of a lift. We basically ranged between 10 degrees and 15 degrees and maybe to 17 degrees most of August, with our one little exception where we actually got to 20 and it felt like summer was here for one day, and then we've gone back to colder temps again. But I just thought these floral elements were the closest I could get to the colours, tones and the whimsy of this installation that my daughter and I went to see. So when I put my photos into this Pocket Plus protector, it's going to bring those colours in and really make it look like these photos belong within this part of the layout. And I'm going to adhere these with the liquid aqua glue I find that comes out in a nice little stream, and it's what I use to do all these delicate pieces. But this section here I'm going to keep relatively clear of liquid glue, and I'm going to put a foam square onto a couple of these areas so that it sits up a little bit and becomes more of a feature. And then I'll repeat this process with the rest of these floral elements. Before I move on to showing you the completed layout and the insert page that I've done as well, I just want to quickly mention the creative design team and the 31 Days of Christmas card event that is starting up again 1st of October right through till the end of October. There will be 31 classes or 31 videos shared during that time. One will be appearing each day, and there will be over 60 samples to look at of all the cards that we're creating, and each video or class will come with instructions so that you can recreate what we are making each day or go off on your own tangent and use those instructions as a kick-off point. This will be my second year of being involved with the creative design team and doing the Christmas card event. It's so much fun. I really look forward to creating Christmas gifts and cards every year. There is a code for early bird registrations that is available up until 25th of September, so make sure you register early to take advantage of that. If you're already a CDT Creatives member, which is our membership group, there is a specific code that you can get for the membership group that will give you a fabulous discount for this event. So I hope you can join us there. Here's my finished double page spread. You can see I've tucked a couple of extra flowers in because I just thought it needed a little bit more up in this area here around the title. I don't know if you're able to pick up the shimmer and the shine on camera from the shimmer brush that I've done with the treatment to the August and also to the winter days. And I've also got an insert page, so this is an extra pocket page. The 6x4 format is generally what I'm using throughout this layout. I did a few fun things for my 60th birthday. My daughter spoiled me rotten with taking me out for high tea. I had a lunch out with a girlfriend. We went out for dinner the night of my birthday as well. And my daughter and I also went to a special exhibition at the museum. So this sort of exhibition is becoming quite popular. It's an immersive experience with projections and everything, and the colours were amazing. So I thought I would just cut a few more of these floral elements out just to add to these pages. And that helps bring these memory pocket style pages into the layout and adds a spot of colour to what primarily is a green toned layout with our temperatures ranging between 10 degrees and 16 or 17 degrees mostly for August. I'll have links in the description below for the details for the Ready to Go project for this, with all the instructions on how to put things together. And if you haven't done so already, go and check out Julie's video. I've had a sneak peek of her layout and it's absolutely stunning. I love what she's done with this sketch that we're using for the month of August. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy crafting, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.